So, welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews, where we discuss with local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes, their challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And this afternoon, I'm delighted to have with us Jessica Wright, who's Managing Director at Peel, based in Skipton. So, firstly, Jessica, thank you for spending some time with us. And if you'd like to introduce yourself, Peel, what you do, how you help people, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, it's lovely to be part of the podcast. I'll try to keep it brief, but what we do at Peel is quite multifaceted. Actually, we're a group structure. We've got a few different companies that within that, but all of those companies are operated from our head office here in Skipton, which I'm at today. It's in very strategic location under the wine shop and by the pie shop, so perfect location.
Perfect.
Yes, exactly. And right on the canal. And we've always been based in this area. We spent many years at Broughton Hall on the business park there. And then we've recently relocated into central Skipton. So what do we do? So we've got the Peel Entertainment Group and we've got the Peel X Group, two different group structures. So touching on Peel Entertainment Group first, we're a large producing house. So we create live entertainment and live theatre for a range of clients, predominantly in the cruise industry. So
Right.
lots of people are quite surprised to learn that being based in Skipton,
Yes.
quite far from the
About as
nearest
far as you could
port.
be. Yeah. Yes.
Yes. So we've got our head office here in town, and then we've got a big rehearsal studio unit down in Keighley. So that's
Okay.
where all of our performers will come,
Yep.
rehearse with us for several weeks, learn about all of our shows. That's where our costume department is, our props, staging, and scenery warehouses are down there. So they'll come train with us, with our choreographers, our musical directors, and then once they're ready, they'll head out to their onto their contract, which could be for any number of kind of major
Yeah.
cruise lines and cruise clients. And then they go out for 6, 12 month contracts at a time, and then we'll rotate them around with a new cast going in after them.
Right.
But it's
Yep.
not just the show team, it's the cruise directors, so the management, the entertainment management on board, the kids club, the guest acts, the musicians, the bands, the techs, so people running sound, music, lighting, game show hosts. It's the full crew of it. So we are
Of
basically
course.
the entertainment department on board for
Right.
a number of clients. And we've done that for a really, really long time. We've done that for probably about 20 years now.
Right.
So off the back of that and having this wonderful creative team and these amazing creative people working in our studio, we were looking at, okay, well, what else can we do as a company? How can we kind of diversify, not to want to have all of our eggs in one basket, so to speak? How do we do other things with our skill set, with our interests, with our passions? So that's where PLX was kind of born, was born out of
Yeah.
that sort of need and desire to diversify. So we decided to start looking at, okay, how could we use what was then a kind of emergence of digital technology to create different kinds of experiences for audiences, different types of experiences for people, whether that might be in an entertainment context, whether that might be coming to a museum or a heritage property. So we started to add to our studio team developers, animators, people who could support us on that journey. And we started to work with clients to create solutions like augmented reality apps and virtual
Yep.
reality-based experiences or immersive projections and touchscreen displays and things like that. So that's why we call Peel X. It's sort of XR. Digital storytelling is the essence of what we do.
Yeah.
And that's grown. That was established about 10 years ago. And that's grown into a company in its own right. I'm managing director of that part of the business now. And we work with really interesting clients. We're doing a big project on the Outer Hebrides at the moment, so we get to go up there and hang
Oh,
out on the Outer
goodness.
Hebrides. Yeah, and what we're doing there is we're creating 3D reconstructions of archaeological sites across the islands, and then using augmented reality to create a visitor attractions based app that you can download on your own device, and you go along the trail route along the islands, and you
Amazing.
trigger 3D reconstructions of
Wow.
archaeological sites, Bronze Age roundhouses, Viking longhouses, and what have you. And within that is this sort of rich multimedia content like oral history recordings from crofters and
Yep.
islanders. There's animations and what have you. So again, using that studio team that that we've got that are really skilled, talented, creative people to create these kind of really exciting experiences for people to enjoy. That's kind of what unites those companies. And then just because, we weren't busy enough, we
Good you can.
decided around the same time as PLX was born, a company called Peel Roleplay was born. And we use actors. So again, that kind of theatre background, the creative, the arts background. We use actors to deliver communication skills training
Right.
to a range of different clients, mostly across the medicine and health sector
Okay.
and into the emergency services. So our clients in that company, and again, I'm the MD of that company, are major medical schools in the UK.
Yep.
So most people don't know this is a thing. Most people don't even know this is a job that people do, but as
Yes.
part of your kind of undergraduate medical degree program, you will have within both your teaching sessions and your assessments, you will have many, many instances where you will encounter what we call simulated patients, which are essentially actors
Right.
delivering simulation
Yeah.
environments in order for them to practice their communication skills with those
Yes.
people. So we've got 800 actors working for us doing that work all across the UK. Um, and we're incredibly busy with that work, mostly medicine, as I say, but also the police, other emergency services, paramedics, lots of simulation and training environments that we try to create for learners in order for them to be the best possible professionals they can be once they've kind of finished their degree program. So that's what we do, if that is helpful. So quite diverse.
Absolutely incredible. All happening out of Skipton.
Yeah.
That's it's just it's just amazing. I was saying before we started how, I love doing these interviews because you just for me uncover just incredible businesses doing amazing things right on the doorstep. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean I'm really keen to know perhaps firstly a little bit more about your background, how you got into business and why this particular one. And I guess yeah, that would be really interesting. I'm guessing it's how the group started to become this thing too, maybe if that's useful.
Yeah, so I mean, I've worked for the company for 15 years.
Yep.
So I came as a relatively recent graduate. I graduated from Durham University with geography, bizarrely enough. So
Right.
so
Yeah.
nothing really connected to the kind of work that we do now, but always sort of with a keen sort of, I suppose, business focus.
Yes.
Um, so I was interested in the company with it being on the doorstep. I'd moved back home. I always thought I would disappear down to London, to be honest. That's what everybody at Durham was doing. Everyone was sort of going home for a bit, and then everyone sort of migrated their way down to London to get their kind of first grad jobs and things like that. So I suppose I always expected that to be my pathway, but I interviewed for a kind of assistant's job at Peel. Susanna, who's still our chair, and founder, who set up the company in '93 in its first
Okay.
incarnation, and then
Yep.
became something slightly different in 1999 when we started cruising. Um, so um, she interviewed me. I was given that job, and then very quickly I became kind of was moved into an operational role, and then I became the ops manager. Then I became the chief operating officer and head of development, and then eventually became managing director. So I've sort of stayed because I've just been really fascinated in that. Well, we do really, really fantastically interesting work.
Yes.
Um, there's all that creative aspect to it is just wonderful. There's always something new. Every project brings new challenges,
Yeah.
new stories to discover, new ways of delivering those stories for audiences is just really interesting work. There's lots of variety, which I absolutely love. And I think, Susanna saw that ambition and that drive and that energy that I had to help support what were at the time quite the green shoots, as I call them. So the entertainment company was very established, but these other areas around the digital storytelling and the role play work, um, they were in their infancy when I joined. In fact, they hadn't really got going at all. So when we
Yeah.
started to look at diversifying the business, I was like, oh, I want to get in on that. I'm really
Yeah.
interested in that. And that gave me a lot of energy to sort of think about how do we start these companies from scratch? What does that look like? How do we win new business? How do we, create the right team to deliver these work? How do we keep up with the trends of digital, which is
Yeah.
in and of
Yeah.
itself quite challenging?
Yes.
Um, Susanna herself, who's the founder and chair of the business, her background is in theatre. She has a degree from Bretton Hall, if you know that, which as do many people who work in the creative and the arts industries
Yeah.
in this area. And she originally set up a theatre company within what is the Bradford Media Museum.
Yes.
That was her first gig when she was sort of
Oh
out of
wow.
college. She set up a theatre company within the museum to deliver interpretation for guests or for visitors coming to the museum. So she took that idea and sort of turned that into her own business. And so that's why that sort of, I suppose, interpretive, experiential um, part of the company sort of underpinned everything that we've done ever since, whether that's been on cruise ships
Yes.
or on the Outer Hebrides or
Yes.
wherever that may be. So yeah, so that was kind of where that started. So I was just really interested in her as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
the way that she'd built the business. She's from Keighley originally, so sort of built the business and then had the foresight to kind of think, okay, where are we going from here? How do we diversify? How do we keep interesting? And how do we keep ourselves interested as well?
Yes.
Was a big part of what and I found that really inspirational, and I've really enjoyed kind of going on. It sounds, I suppose, corny, but going on that journey has
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
it's been
No,
really
that's all.
interesting because it's meant no year has been the same.
Yes. It really sounds like it's been very diverse. I mean, just what you do feels like it's quite diverse in its nature, but obviously, then the businesses of what you do are going to be diverse. So looking back a little bit, I mean, through the career and the businesses themselves, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome over that time?
Well, I think COVID presented a
I,
fairly
I
substantial
guess, yeah,
challenge. Yeah, I think a lot of people will say that, no doubt, on the when they
yes,
record their podcast. But for us, I mean, the cruise industry, of course, practically stopped
yep,
overnight,
yep,
and really took a very long time to recover. It's only just started to kind of recover now, but and even then, the contracts that we have are slightly different to the ones that we had
okay,
kind of pre-COVID.
yep,
And Peel Roleplay was massively impacted, of course, as well, because all of our kind of face-to-face
yep,
interactions had to stop. Our clients, being kind of universities and medical schools, were very quick to adopt technology like this to try and deliver the same sorts of teaching and assessment
yeah,
through Zoom and the platforms, and move those consultations and those experiences sort of online. But that didn't happen overnight. There was a bit of a lag before that happened. That they were some of them were quicker than others, and even then the numbers didn't go up to what they were sort of previously. And again, they're kind of creeping towards that again now. But that was a significant challenge for us as a business, which sort of was the reason why we started to kind of look at this restructure around how
yeah,
do we compartmentalize these businesses into their own sort of
yes,
limited entities rather than them all sitting under the kind of the group structure exclusively. And then I suppose what other challenges will be what most other people say, which is that, finding the work is challenging,
yeah,
particularly when you're running a digital agency like PLX, because it's project to project. So having that kind of steady stream of projects coming through so you can forecast into the following year, you can think about how your team's structured, all that kind of stuff. It is challenging. And a lot of our work is within the public sector as well. We do a lot of work with local authorities, and they're relying on public funding and grant money to deliver these sorts of
right,
experiences that
yeah,
they want to do. So most of our major clients within PLX will be um, people like, I don't know, take uh, North Yorkshire County Council, for
yeah,
example. They might come to us and say, we've got some heritage lottery funding, we want to deliver a heritage trail in a particular town or location. So obviously they're reliant on those pots of money being available. I
yes,
think that, therefore we're a little bit at the mercy of
yeah,
that and what's coming up. And then of course it's a competitive landscape. How do we maintain the edge on our competitors so that work comes to us? Means that you spend an awful lot of time writing competitive bids
yeah,
and
yeah,
producing tenders that may or may not be
yeah,
successful. And of course, in the digital environment and in the agency world, that over the last 10 years, there's been a lot more competition in the market. There's been a lot more people kind of setting those sorts of companies up and
Yes.
doing, similar work. Um, so that's a significant challenge. And then retaining your staff, retaining really good quality people to deliver this work consistently, attracting the right people to Skipton,
Yeah. Yes.
making sure that that workforce is here. We've of course adopted hybrid working and flexible working practices, which supports and underpins the kind of
Yeah.
the development of our workforce. But it isn't without its challenges being in a kind of, more rural location as we are. So,
Yes.
that's something that needs consistent and continuous investment. And to do that. That said, we've got fantastic staff who, many of whom have worked for us for a very, very long time. And certainly within my areas, we've all been working together now for most of us 7 or 8 years plus on these projects. And so therefore I feel that sense of kind of responsibility to make sure that
Yeah.
these interesting projects and these new things, these new ideas and new clients we want to work with, that they're coming through
Yeah.
in order for us all to be, continue to do this great work. So
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, obviously lots of things going on there. It's interesting. I remember I worked with a quite a fast growing company in Ilkley quite a few years ago, and we were on a growth curve, so we had to attract a lot of people, and
yeah,
it was in the tech space, and we ended up making living in Ilkley rather than being outside of Leeds, where a lot of this big tech, I'm sure big tech hub in Leeds, was making living in Ilkley something special
yeah,
and actually marketing. It wasn't for everybody because obviously, but it was finding people that went, oh, I would love to live somewhere like Ilkley
yeah,
and make it. I think it's turning almost like what felt like a liability into an asset, if that makes sense.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I would imagine the same with Skipton. I mean, it's a beautiful place to be and live.
Yeah. Yeah, I
It
mean we obviously we absolutely love it. We love being
yes,
here. And it's a fantastic place to live, work, bring up your family, etc., isn't it? And to be. I
yeah,
think for us, particularly in PLX, quite a number of our team don't live in the area. They work fully remote.
yes,
Most people don't. Most people work a bit of a mixture. But yeah, absolutely a big part of my motivation for wanting to be on the York and North Yorkshire's Combined Authorities Business Board was exactly that, was just to kind of like flying the flag for the region as
yeah,
this really innovative place, entrepreneurial place, full of exciting companies and lots
yes,
of really vibrant small businesses that provide really exciting and interesting workplaces.
yeah,
So it was a big motivation for me wanting to do that, be part of that board and sort of
yes,
do that work, because I do fundamentally believe that the type and quality of the work that we're producing here is on a par, if not better, to blow my own trumpet, than is being delivered, out of major cities. I mean, one of our
great.
huge clients for PLX is Dublin City Council. So
Oh, okay,
we spend an awful lot of our time over in Ireland delivering um, digital storytelling work over there. We
right.
created what's called Dublin Discovery Trails, which is an augmented reality enabled app for them, and that's now got 15 trails on it across the city and the wider city region. And that contract was, I suppose it was a hot potato in the industry, and that lots and lots of studios wanted it, lots of
Oh yeah,
agencies wanted it, because it's been a contract. It's a 5 year long framework agreement with Dublin City Council to deliver this interpretive work and this heritage storytelling work for them, and to make the city's stories more accessible, vibrant,
yeah,
exciting, encourage footfall, dwell time into sort of lesser trodden areas of the city, and all that kind of stuff. So, so we were absolutely delighted and extremely proud to win that work.
absolutely.
And yeah, the work that we've produced there, and as we do for all of our PLX based clients, whether that's an app, whether that's a VR experience, whether that's an immersive projection, it absolutely stands up against everything, across the whole of the UK
Yeah, yeah,
and beyond, as being of exceptional quality. So,
yes,
I'm really proud of what we're able to produce here, being a very small studio that we are. And we were really proud last year to sign a contract and agreement with Aardman Animation in Bristol. So,
oh
Wallace and
goodness,
Gromit, Shaun the Sheep,
yes,
those people. And and again, a small studio, in Skipton. They're an international brand, household name, phenomenal films that everybody knows. And we are their sort of interactive partner studio. So we produce all of their, we support them with all of their app development now, all of their
Right.
AR and app-based trail development. So as their sort of exclusive provider of those services. So we were really proud to make that connection
Yeah,
and to acquire them as a client.
absolutely wonderful. It's, as I say, it's just great just to find businesses like yours doing so well, seeing so many different areas. So, I mean, thinking about, growing a successful business, what are some of the key learnings you've had about successful business growth, would you say?
I think a lot of it boils down to that vision of Susanna's, which was about not just doing one thing. It was about kind of where can we leverage our skills, and what no one has a crystal ball, but if we can think about what the direction of travel might be and how do we try and get sort of in front of that,
Yes.
what does that look like? Which is sort of why PLX was born. As I said, it was
Yeah.
about thinking about, well, we're doing this really, really well, and that's great, but what have things changed over there?
Hi,
I
Jessica. So sorry, I don't know what happened there. We just,
I don't, you froze, so I kept talking
yeah,
just in
I,
case I was still there.
yeah, I was hoping I was giving to it. No, absolutely. So, yeah, forgive me, I don't know quite what's happened there. So, we'll get this bit cut out. I'm just thinking, where did we start? So we would,
If you just say the question again, I think, which was the growth question, wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, cool. Um, yeah. So thinking about obviously the challenges you've had, and with the businesses you've had, and looking back, what would you say some of the biggest things you've learned about growing successful businesses?
Yeah, I think a lot of it boils down to what I said at the beginning with Susanna's vision for not having sort of being fixed, having a fixed mindset,
Yeah,
being more flexible within that. So, thinking about where might we take the business? What do those opportunities look like? Um, I think and being open to those ideas as well. So
yeah,
pure role play wouldn't exist at all had we not have been approached by um, somebody else who had the idea, who had been doing a similar work for a different organization before. Very sadly, they ceased to exist. So they came to us with an idea. And obviously, the easiest thing in the world would be to go, well, we're kind of doing cruise entertainment. We're not, we're producing theatre and entertainment when it's not really our area of expertise. I think that would have been the easiest solution rather than go, well, oh, I didn't realize, didn't know anything about that. And actually that's really, really fascinating. Let's find out more. Let's see where we could take that. And let's invest in that. Let's take that risk to invest in it in a new area and to go for it. And then exactly the same with PLX really. And on the digital side of things, it was that foresight to think, the future of audience experiences is changing. And the technology that everybody now has in their back pocket, everyone's got carrying around the most powerful computer in the world in their pocket, aren't
yes,
they?
yeah,
How do we leverage that to create these new experiences for people? And that going back, I think we did the first AR app we did for the Duchess of Northumberland at the Annick Garden in 2013,
right,
2012, 2013. So at the
amazing.
time, that was that was fairly groundbreaking because it hadn't been done before in that way. There weren't those. And now, of course, you go to lots of places and they might have an app, they might have some sort of
Yeah.
guide or interpretation that you can access through your own device. But back then, that was quite unusual. And I remember doing a project for Colchester Castle. They were going through a whole multi-million pound redevelopment of their museum within the castle. And they came to us and said, "Oh, we're thinking of doing a digital guide. We're not quite sure what that looks like. We're not quite sure how to do it." And we sort of were like, "Well, no, neither are we, but we'll give it a go, you know." And
Brilliant.
together, yeah,
Love it.
exactly. And together, we sort of thought, "Well, we'll work it out. We'll find a way to do it, and we'll think about it." And that digital guide, which is on a tablet, was launched in, I think, 2013, 2014. It's still going now. The same product is still in that museum now, you know, more than 10 years later.
Brilliant.
So they've far recouped their costs of their original investment. But that at the time, again, had 3D reconstructions of decapitated heads on sticks that went over skulls within display cases and things like that. And it was, you know, again, and it had
Wow.
360-degree views of the castle reconstructed to its former glory and things. And, you know,
Okay.
again, at the time, that was cutting edge. It was very, you know, very, very innovative. So I think it's about taking those risks, sort of having a lot of self-belief as well that we might not know how to do it
Yes.
yet, but we will
Yep.
find out. We will work it out. We've got the ambition, we've got the right team. We
Yep.
can bring the right people in if we don't have the right team, but we are going to be confident in our own ability to really produce this work. And and so I think that that's been a huge lever for the
Yep.
growth that we've seen and the kind of diversification that we've seen. Um, and I think that equally there's a quite a small team of people that have worked together for a very long time, and we have total trust in each other. I think we kind of share the same ambitions. We want and know we have to work hard to achieve those things. And as I say, I can't say highly enough how fantastic our team are because they are again a bit like happy to turn their hands. There's no I was weird and wonderful ideas that we come up with all the time. They kind of just go, yeah, okay, yeah, let's go with that. Let's roll with that and see what shakes out, which is, you know, fantastically
Brilliant.
energizing space to be in.
Brilliant. Brilliant. No, I can see. I mean, clearly, just yeah. Let's be innovative, and I'm guessing innovation and diversity have you know, we mentioned COVID being a big challenge. Having done that pre-COVID would have helped you get through that challenge, as you say, with
Exactly.
things
Yeah.
like the cruises going. Goodness. So, I think you're probably aware we're a business coaching organisation. I'm just keen to know who the best coaches you've worked with, whether that's business, sport, life in general. Who's had the biggest impact on you?
Um, I would say, well, probably my other members of the senior management team who I work with day in, day out. You know, I've been in the company from being quite a young, quite junior
Yeah.
person. So I relied heavily on their mentoring and their
Yeah. Brilliant.
coaching sort of me. So I've benefited from huge amounts. I mean, Susanna and I talk about it a lot, but I think in the first sort of 10 years of um working for the company, we probably spent hours, you know, countless hours in the car, driving to
Yeah.
clients, talking to people, trying to convince them to work with us on various things. And that time with someone who had had lots of business experience, who built the business, developed the business, that one-on-one time for me was
Yeah.
completely invaluable in terms
Wonderful.
of sort of helping me to see what was possible and how to do things. And I think that that's now hopefully what I try to offer to more junior members or all members of my team who come to work for the company as well. So, you know, remembering that that was the benefit that I had and the journey that I went on, I think is why I like to spend so much time with my team talking
Yeah.
and sharing those war stories as well around the
Yes.
things that just, you know, haven't gone that well.
Yep.
I think, you know, we are a very kind of, I suppose, very close group now as a kind of we've as a result of that. So I would say from a coaching perspective, that's been my sort of biggest
Wonderful.
influence. Yeah.
Wonderful. And what would you say you've learned about yourself throughout your journey so far?
Uh, um, I would say. That's a really tough question, but I would say, well, most people, well, I know Marty would say that I spent, it was like, I think he works and he looks after lots of different things. The company's worked for us forever, but it's like I've never known anyone go through as many laptops as you or phones as you because I just destroy them. So it's like stop working all the time. I
Wonderful.
think I think I've had to learn over the years just to. Um, I suppose be a bit. I've had children in this window of time, obviously that I've worked for the company, so I think that that has forced my hand a little bit to adopt a slightly more flexible approach to work
Yes,
and
really.
to just adopt a slightly different working style as well. I think I would possibly have been. I don't know, is workaholic? I hate that word. I probably was that for a very long time,
Yeah,
and just this kind of dogged determination to get to where we wanted to be. And we're not there yet, but there's a lot of work to be done. But I think what I recognized and realized was that you can still achieve the same outcome by adopting a slightly different approach.
absolutely. Yeah. Well, interesting enough, our definition of a true business is a commercial profitable enterprise that can work without its owners and leaders, if that
Yes.
makes sense. And it's not
Yes.
dependent on its owners and leaders
Yes.
to grow. Does that, how do you feel about that as a definition?
No, I think that if he'd have said that to me 7 or 8 years ago, I'd have gone, what? No, really? But no, it's absolutely that's part of kind of personal development and growth, isn't it? Recognizing that. And I think that certainly within I think certainly now I would say that we're in a really good place and that that is
Yeah.
broadly speaking where we're at now. So that I can spend most of my time thinking about what's next. What are the
Yes.
next, who are the next clients, but what are the next products? What is the next direction of
Yes.
travel? What's the next investment that we might want to make our systems more efficient or to
Yeah.
introduce AI into what we're doing? Whatever it may be, I can work in that
Yeah.
in that small percentage where I'm thinking about growth development strategy. Whereas for a long time I was
Yeah.
in the project. I was doing very operational, very hands-on. So it's taken quite a long time to both realize that evolution, both literally and I think for me mentally get my head into that space.
100% disagree. I do a lot of work with business leaders on this because it's like a couple of the key challenges are, one the logical side of this, and the logical side is sort of if if our business is dependent on how hard I work, then
Mm,
ultimately we become the bottleneck for that growth.
yes.
We become the obstacle to growth because I can't work any harder or do more work. So that
Yeah.
logically works, but then there's a big identity shift
Yeah.
because we're brought up with the sort of culture of, quite rightly so, the harder we work, the more successful we'll be. That's
Yeah.
absolutely correct. Until we become in the role of leader and owner, owner leader of business, because then it's about
Mm,
how well we lead other people, if
yes.
that makes sense. There's
Yeah.
I heard a lady called Jennifer Byrne speak a couple of years ago, and she's ex CTO at Microsoft, so she'd come over to speak over here, and one of the things she said that always struck me was that when in the States when they recruit C-suite executives into businesses, they actively test them on their ability not to do things.
Oh, okay, that's really interesting, isn't
And
it?
it's a bit, it's hold on, and I could see almost like there was a whole, including myself, this
Yeah.
wave of confusion going around the room. I said, "What? Oh." But yeah, if we think about it, yeah, it's how well I can get other, how well I lead other people to do things rather than
Yeah.
naturally do it myself.
Yeah.
And especially in SME businesses where
Mm.
businesses are built on a few good people working incredibly hard to start with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yes, exactly in the beginning. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So looking forward then a little bit, what does the future look like for you guys, and what challenges do you think you might face, if any?
Um, I think there are. I think there's lots of challenges. There's always challenges
Yeah.
within business. I think for us, it's about current climate. It is challenging. It is a challenging environment in which to win work.
Yes.
Margins are being driven down. Things are more expensive. It's very difficult. So I think for us, we're doing what we always do really, which is that we're looking in a slightly different direction, pivoting, I think is
Yes.
probably to use that well-used term. thinking about, okay, we know, how do we make our systems and processes more efficient and effective, so that we can maybe acquire more clients, we can deliver to more clients without necessarily having to um, uh, change anything else about what we're doing. So we can fold them into existing
Yeah.
operations much more straightforwardly, more seamlessly. We're also looking at developing. It's a bit top secret, but we are looking at kind of platform development as well, thinking about, again, how do we create environments in which people can come and avail of our services in a slightly different way. So they might, so the transaction changes really, and I
Yeah.
can't really share much more than that, but it's about thinking about, and that across all of our businesses is about how do we make some aspects of what we're doing more self-serve,
Right.
so that's thinking about automation. It's thinking
Yeah.
about introduction of some, again, I don't want to just throw the term AI around, 'cause I think it's really unhelpful, but what can we adopt of AI to make those systems, so that the creative people who work for us can focus on what they do really well, which is producing great work and producing the creative assets that we need to deliver the experiences that we do,
Yeah.
safe in the knowledge that the way that those products might be being compiled, built, developed, or published is slightly more streamlined and effective.
Yes.
So we're sort of looking at that, looking at that as a kind of as a wholesale review of the company, um, and yeah, and looking at what else can we do within the structures that we're already operating within. So take role play. We're doing a lot of work in medicine, health, emergency services. But what does the corporate piece there look like? What same product, new sector, that
Yes.
sort of line. Thinking about
Brilliant.
what does that look like, and how do we put our energy into maybe opening up new sectors in that area. Um, so constantly looking and reviewing about, opening up new sectors, thinking about streamlining and making our business a bit more effective, self-serve. Everyone's looking at kind of software as a service in our sector as well at the
Right.
moment,
Yeah.
thinking about what does that look like for us. So
Yes.
quite a lot of internal investment at the moment around those kind
Brilliant.
of platforms and systems.
Brilliant. Well, be great to see how things develop over time with what you're doing. And I'm keen to know what you'd say to anyone that was thinking of going into business right now.
I I mean, I think that Yorkshire in and of itself is phenomenally entrepreneurial. I think there
Yes,
are people setting up fantastic businesses all of the time. And I don't think it matters when you do that either. I think that there's almost never a good time, but there's never a bad time either to just
I
to
agree.
just go for it. Um, I think that getting the right support is really
Yeah,
important, and I think that's something that I've really struggled with in the past, which is to know where to go.
yeah,
I'm not sure I have all the answers on that yet, but I certainly think that I would have probably seen a lot more value in networking and having a broader network in the early years of my
yes,
career,
yeah,
and having more people to talk to and more people to kind of share ideas, concerns, etc. with, and I'm sure as part of the work that you guys do, that you can help signpost people who are coming into kind of work, thinking of starting
yes,
their own companies. But I think that the beauty of setting your own company, of course, is that you can turn it into whatever you want it to be
yeah,
or whatever you need it to be personally. And I think
yes,
there's, massive value in that
yeah,
around, you know, someone said to me earlier today, wanting to live your best life. What does that look like for you? How do you achieve that? And if that means, you've got a passion for something, whatever that might be, a service, a product, um, and you've got, and you want to try and find a way in which you can balance different aspects of your life that are as important to you as your job, that
yeah,
setting your own company is the best possible way to do that, and that um, this is a really great environment in which to do that, because I think that there are so many other like-minded people doing
yeah,
similar things that we can all lean on and support each other to make that successful, or to help to make each other successful.
yeah. Perfect. Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. It's yeah, get the support you need when you need it, and Yeah, and as you say, you could. I always say to people, look, the main challenge of having your own business is ultimately the book stops with us until
Yeah.
ultimately we recruit somebody for who else the book might stop for. But the great thing about having a business is we get to choose exactly how it is, how we
Yeah.
work, when we work, who we work with, and that freedom is quite engaging for so many different people.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Brilliant. So, final question: what would be the best advice you could give an 18-year-old you if you could go back in time and do that, Jessica?
Oh, crumbs. An 8-year-old me. Hmm. I'm not sure. That's such a difficult question because all decisions that you've made fundamentally shape who you are now, don't they? So, and
Absolutely.
who knows? I mean, gosh, I could have said, oh, I wish I'd have gone to a bigger university. I wish I'd not gone to Durham. I wish I'd gone to a big city university and had a different experience, but I didn't. And actually, I came out, got a really
Then
good
you would be you.
degree, and
Yeah.
or I could have said, oh, I should have gone to London. I should have gone and done that. I should have gone to a big city and tried that for a bit, and then come back up north or later. But actually, I love it around here, and
Brilliant.
Skipton's been brilliant to me and my family. And I'm not sure my mum will think the same now. She's on grandparent duty, but so I don't know really. I don't know what I would say because I wouldn't want to say don't work as hard. I mean, I have worked hard, and that's mean a lot of meant making
Yeah.
lots of sacrifices. And lots of people for a time was like, "Why, Jess? Whenever she comes for a meal, she's got three phones and this, when in the time where that was a thing, or the BlackBerry, when
Yes.
that
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
thing." And but I don't think that we would be where we are now,
No.
or I wouldn't be where I am now if I hadn't
Yeah.
have pushed myself like that at that time. So I probably would just say be even more confident. I think we
Brilliant.
said this before this call, didn't we? That I think it's quite a female trait to lack confidence. A bit of
Yeah.
imposter syndrome creeps in
Yes.
a lot. Um, I've found that a lot. Even when I write, I do quite a lot of speeches now, and I go and give keynotes, and I deliver seminars and workshops and things like that. And I had to rethink what I was saying because a lot of the time when I was introducing what I was doing, I was almost apologizing at
Yeah.
first for being oh, I've had to pull this together quite quickly, or I agreed to do
Yeah.
this a while ago, and it's all of a sudden here, and I haven't done any prep. And that's not true. I obviously have done prep and thought about it, but it's almost that putting that out there into the world first was a bit of a
Yes.
comfort blanket
Yeah. Yeah.
in case this doesn't go very well.
Yeah. Put your excuses out there first. Yeah. No, I
Yes,
completely get.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
is a little
Yeah.
bit of that kind of lack of confidence and feeling like a bit of imposter syndrome that you're
Yeah.
thinking actually, oh, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I haven't, whatever it may be. And I
Yes.
and I think that certainly when I was well, I'm still like that now. I still have to have a word with myself about that now and
Yeah.
think about it all the time. But definitely when I was 18, that confidence in putting yourself out there forward, I think, to say saying, it'll be okay. Go for it. You know what you're talking about. You are good enough.
Yeah.
And everything will be okay in the end.
Absolutely. There's a great phrase. I love there's a great phrase from, I think it's whether it was First Exotic Marigold Hotel or whether it's the film, he says, "Let's get it right. It'll all be right at the end, and if it's not all right, it's not the end." So,
Yes,
so
exactly.
which I love.
Far more succinctly put than my rambling just
No,
then, but
no,
that
not
I
at all.
think that's what I was trying to say.
Not at all. Not at all. I just like the phrase. I just like the saying.
It's
It's
really good, yeah.
Jessica, it's been delightful talking to you, and I really congratulate you on all you and the Peel have achieved. And it'd be great to swing by another 6, 12 months and just see, as you say, there's some new things coming and just more learning from what you're doing, what you're achieving. But for now, thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you. It's a pleasure. It's lovely to chat to you, and yeah, thanks so much.
Brilliant. Thank you.